I agree with you. I think that the CLMs are written in all the legal documents are legalese. You could also argue that they're written in the language of billable hours. So that's how you get very frothy, long documents.
That's the value prop, right? You don't need as many corporate, you don't need legal involved as much. They're often the ones that are kicking and screaming, honestly, in a lot of these transformations because they don't want to be,
Nobody wants to be left behind, and nobody wants to be obsoleted. It is interesting. I used to think, so my sister started law school on Monday here in San Francisco. And it's the first time I've had someone from my nuclear family out in California. So I'm very excited. She'll be here for at least 3 years, assuming she continues enjoying her legal training. But it is interesting. Like, I know a lot of people who are lawyers, and I think, with Harvey and all these legal tech companies coming out, is there a risk? Do you feel a risk at your job? And they're like, no, we're so busy and we're so underwater all the time that I would love to have a way to offload some of our work. And so they're not, I think, today feeling like the crunch of, hey, it's replacing our work as much as the opportunity to do stuff a little bit better and faster. I will say in our business, we just use ChatGPT straight off the internet with obviously in our enterprise environment to review basic contracts like NDAs, because 90% of the time it's pretty vanilla NDAs. And so I just want the system to tell me, hey, are there any major red flags? Now we do have a commercial counsel who will sometimes send stuff to, but a lot of times if it's really clear that it's fine, then I say, okay, let's just go and keep moving, right? So I think legal makes sense. What are the areas that you feel like are going to be unchanged by AI? Because people often ask the question, what's changing in the next 5 to 10 years? But they very rarely ask the question, what's not going to change the next 5 to 10 years?
Well, I think IT operations, obviously, plumbers and anybody that's, physically gonna, on site at your opera, they'll be fine. But I do think just on IT infrastructure, they're going to be plenty busy just moving from, legacy tech debt to moving to more modern architectures, right? Going from old, integrations to modern microservices and APIs, now to composable apps and, agentic and, MCP, kind of just building the whole new infrastructure. It's still got to work. And honestly, AI is introducing as much complexity as it is helping to solve the complexity in your business operations, right? So, and that's probably a temporary thing, because right now there's this giant land grab in the battle of the tech gorillas, right? And yeah, things are getting more commoditized all the time through the LLMs and all the hyperscalers, right? They're kind of just, invoice scanning and processing, and, it's just going to become truly infrastructure and plumbing, right? So, I think IT will actually be fine. It's the folks that are just actually doing sneaker net kind of operations and just fingers on keyboards that's repeatable. That's you better start elevating your value prop, running your skills. So
what's SneakerNet?
SneakerNet is you basically go from one system or SwivelNet, go from one system to another and take data from one system and another, or you swivel in your chair for going to the other. So it's kind of like RPA or stuff. Anytime you're doing redundant keyboard on, hands-on keyboard activity, it's the algorithm is coming for you.